Hi everybody, and welcome to FLIC Congress 2025. We are very glad to have you here. Our first speaker today will be Desmond Meade. Desmond Meade is a transformational leader whose commitment to justice has impacted millions. Meade is the president of the Florida Rights Restoration Coalition, FRRC, and chair of Floridians for a Fair Democracy. His efforts to uplift humanity have constantly earned him national and international acclaim. Meade is a Ford Global Fellow, a 2021 MacArthur Genius Fellow, and was recognized in 2019 as one of Time Magazine's 100 most influential people in the world, and twice a published author. As president and executive director of the FRRC, Meade led the successful passage of Amendment 4, a grassroots citizen initiative which restored voting rights to over 1.4 million Floridians with past felony convictions. Amendment 4 represented the single largest expansion of voting rights in the United States in half a century and brought an end to 150 years of a Jim Crow era law in Florida. Under his leadership, FRRC was distinguished in 2023 by being nominated for the 2023 Nobel Peace Prize. A graduate of the Florida International University College of Law, Meade also holds honorary doctorate degrees from Bard College and Duke University. He presently leads efforts to empower and civically re-engage local communities across the United States with love and empathy. Using his inspiring journey of overcoming incarceration, homelessness, and substance use, he works tirelessly to reshape local, state, and national criminal justice policies and create a more vibrant democracy for us all. Among many other accolades, Desmond's efforts have resulted in him earning the distinction in 2019 as Floridian and Central Floridian of the Year and being recognized as a hero by CNN as one of the 40 most influential people in politics by Politico. A well-sought-after speaker, Desmond appears on CNN, MSNBC, 60 Minutes, and Fox TV, demonstrating his ability to appeal to and inspire people from all walks of life. Meade is married to Sheena Meade, who leads the Clean Slate Initiative. Together, they are reshaping policies that allow people with prior records the ability to live with purpose, dignity, and power. Now let's all welcome Desmond Meade.
Hello, attendees of the 2025 FLIC Congress. My name is Desmond Meade, and I am the Executive Director of Florida Rights Restoration Coalition. I'd like to thank the leadership of Florida Immigrant Coalition for inviting me to share a few words with you all. Now, this is something new to me. I normally speak in front of live audiences. And so to be able to give a presentation like this is challenging. But you know what? Being able to share some words of encouragement with you all is important enough for me to be willing to go through this uncomfortable situation and try to figure this thing out. So I'm going to ask you guys to give me a little grace if I make some mistakes here or there. But just know that my intent, purpose, and my commitment is to having this conversation with you all and hopefully sharing some words that will serve as inspiration, that will give you hope so you can continue in your efforts. Now, when I was thinking about what is it that I'm going to say to these folks, it wasn't lost on me that we are in challenging times here in Florida. There's just so much that's going on, and there's so much division, and there's so much hatred and fear that's being thrown around left and right, and dehumanizing of people, that it almost seems overwhelming. It almost creates a feel as if we're having insurmountable challenges that we're not going to be able to overcome. But I'm here to tell you that we can overcome these challenges. You can overcome these challenges, right? Myself in 2005, I remember I was encountering personal challenges on my own, right? I was homeless. I was addicted to drugs and recently released from prison. And it got so bad for me that I, found myself standing in front of railroad tracks, waiting on a train to come so I can jump in front of it. But the train didn't come that day. And I ended up crossing those tracks, and I checked myself into drug treatment. And after completing a 4-month program, I was able to move back into a homeless shelter. And while there, I decided to do something different with my life. And I enrolled at Miami-Dade College, Wilson campus, to start my education. And ironically, while I was at Miami-Dade Wilson campus, I ran across four amazing young folks that was fighting for people, undocumented youth. Carlos, Juan, Felipe, and Gabby Pacheco. And these four young folks had this crazy idea about walking from the Freedom Tower in Miami-Dade County all the way to the White House in Washington, D.C., to deliver a message to President Obama on behalf of undocumented youth all over this country. And at that time, that seemed like a crazy idea and that it was an impossible task. But you know what? They did it. And believe it or not, their movement served as an inspiration for me, which years later I was able to take from what they did and use it to actually accomplish something that folks thought was insurmountable as well. Florida at the time was the number one state in the country that disenfranchised its citizens, which meant that when anyone was convicted of a felony offense, they would lose their civil rights to include the right to vote for the rest of their lives. And there are all kinds of folks and organizations that was been working on trying to reverse this for quite some time. But in 2012, I came up with this crazy idea, just like the Dreamers came up with their crazy idea, that maybe we can change the Constitution, that maybe when politicians are not doing the things that we want them to do, or when politicians are placing politics over people, when politics are driving a narrative that dehumanizes people like me who've had previous felony convictions, that maybe we take our fight or our effort to the streets. Maybe we take it to everyday citizens, and maybe we use the very same people who care about us and who love us to stand in solidarity with us to make a change. And that's what we did. I got that from the Dreamers. That's what they did. And I said, you know what? If it worked for them, maybe it can work for me. And guess what? In November of 2018, it worked. We actually amended the Constitution of the state of Florida at a time when everyone thought it was impossible to do, right? We were dealing with a controversial topic, such as whether or not people with felony convictions should be able to vote. We was doing it in a controversial state. And at the time we did it, there was a lot of political back and forth and strife that was going on, not only in Florida, but across the country. And all the experts thought that it was a crazy idea to think that we could change the Constitution in Florida, which was the hardest state in the country to actually pass a constitution. But November of 2018, we did exactly just that. We was able to overcome seemingly insurmountable odds because we believed. We believed in the work that we was doing, and in spite of people saying, no, it can't be done, right? We refused to listen to folks, to the naysayers, right? Yes, we had setbacks, but the setbacks didn't shut us up. It didn't sit us down. It just gave us even more energy and more resolve to continue moving forward. And when election night happened, an amazing thing occurred. Over 5.1 million people that represented 64% of Florida voters voted yes on what was then Amendment 4, the Voting Rights Amendment. They voted yes for second chances. But you know what? Most important, they voted yes for seeing our humanity. They voted yes for forgiveness and redemption. And largest of all, they voted yes for love. That's right. I said that four-letter word, love. I learned that also from the Dreamers, right? That love has to be at the center of our work if it's to be successful and lasting. And that's exactly what happened. We showed the world that we don't have to live in fear. We don't have to use hatred or scare anyone into voting and supporting our efforts, that we can organize along the lines of love, that we can take our campaign and elevate it above partisan politics, even above implicit or explicit racial biases, and connect with each other along the lines of humanity and let that bond that connects us as a human race, right, be stronger than the forces that try to divide us as people. And we showed the world that love can, in fact, win the day. And I do believe, if I leave you with nothing else today, that love can and will win the day for you. We just have to figure out how best to use it. And never give up, never stop in your work, and never let anyone say that you can't do it, because anything is impossible when you have a higher power on your side, a higher power who I choose to call God, and when you're leading your efforts that's centered in love and humanity. I wish you the best in this conference. I know you're going to learn a lot of amazing things and hear from some great speakers that will continue to not only inform you, but to inspire you and tell you, as nothing else, don't stop, don't stop, don't quit. You will see the light at the end of the tunnel. Hope you have a great and amazing conference. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
And now it is my honor and privilege to introduce you to our next speaker, Representative Dr. Anna V. Escamani.
So my name is, again, Representative Dr. Anna V. Escamani, and I grew up in Orlando, Florida, to a family of working class immigrants. My parents came from Iran and came to call Orlando home. I have a twin sister named Ida Escamani, who's very involved in progressive movement spaces, and a big brother named Arya. And our family did everything they could to really try to build a better life for their children and to aspire towards that American dream that so many come to this country to experience. In that environment, I had a whole lot of love and not a lot of money. And so public school and public facilities were what kept us grounded. I'm a graduate of Orange County Public Schools, K to 12. I, went to public parks, public libraries, public beaches. Like, it really does speak to how important these types of environments are for families like mine. And then, of course, in that time frame, as my parents were working multiple jobs to make ends meet, my mom was diagnosed with colon cancer, and I was about 9 years old. And after a long, courageous battle, she passed away when I was 13. And that was a major loss as a young child, but it continues to be a major loss into adulthood. She is my guardian angel. She's everything I hope to be and more. And she also instilled in me a sense of identity and confidence that gave me, at the very least, a foundation to keep going despite her physical absence. When I got to high school, I was a high school theater kid, did technical theater all 3 years, from my sophomore year to senior. Saw my first musical when I was a freshman, just fell in love with the theater. But of course, I decided to go into a different path when I had an amazing government teacher, Mr. Norris, who brought to life to me the importance of being civically engaged as a young person. I went to UCF. That was really not a question for me. It was assumed, since one reason why my mom and dad decided to live in Orlando was because of the proximity to a good university. They didn't want us to carry debt as we grew older. So my sister and my brother all went to UCF, and I eventually fell into campus organizing really just by chance. I mean, I care a lot about human rights, the environment. I first started getting involved in anti-war protest, and then started shifting towards environmental policy, and eventually met the College Democrats at UCF, and that became my second home, and my place where I grew as an advocate. I was very much involved in issues that impact women and girls, and so in 2012, I was offered a job with my local Planned Parenthood affiliate. And I worked at Planned Parenthood for about 7 years, going through a merger and becoming the senior director of public affairs and communications across 22 counties, managing a team of 6 with 11 health centers. And in that time frame, got a front row seat in the disaster that is the state capitol and pushing back against bills that attack our communities. Of course, as I worked at Planned Parenthood, I finished my dual master's degree, started my PhD, and decided to run for the first time as a candidate in 2018 as part of the wave of first-time candidates post-Trump 1.0, post his first administration. and flipped my seat from red to blue. And I've now served in legislature for 8 years. And I, of course, have led with grit and grace, defending our communities, delivering the best constituent services, and just working as hard as I can for the people that call Florida home. Immigration is as American as apple pie. It is a part of who we are. It's a part of what makes our country so great. Having diverse cultural backgrounds, diverse viewpoints, diverse spaces, it just leads to better outcomes. It's so important for us to also acknowledge the fact that the United States has caused so much instability around the world in our founding, that the United States has a history of exploiting Black and brown labor. And it's very important that we not ignore those realities, especially as we approach America 250, our 250th birthday as a country. And so many of the migration patterns happening today are the product of imperialism and colonialism and that type of instability. So we owe it to the rest of the world to be a partner and to support those that are looking for refuge. We also just have a ridiculously broken immigration system that needs to be fixed because there really is no easy path to become an American citizen, to come to this country, especially if you don't have money. And so, from an economic perspective, there are class dynamics that determines who actually gets to come to this country, through traditional ways, through regulated ways, and who gets a pathway to citizenship, which I believe fundamentally is wrong. And so, the heart of your question around immigration being a democracy issue and being a economic issue, from the democracy lens, it's who we are. It's fundamental to our values. We wouldn't have a United States of America without immigration. And I do think, again, the notion of people being given a chance to reach their fullest potential is why millions of people aspire to call this country home. And then on the economic piece, it's a known fact that Florida in particular is very reliant on the contributions of immigrants for all parts of our economy. And whether it's the essential fields that are incredibly arduous, like agriculture, construction, tourism, or the STEM fields like science and medicine, immigrants are a key component of all the above. And we can't get anything done in this country, let alone in Florida, if it's not for the contributions of immigrants. Um, for me, I think about women like my mom who sacrificed so much to call this country home and never had the chance to see the fruits of her labor. There's so many families like mine that need to know that there's someone's fighting for them. I never knew what a state house rep was growing up. I had no context of who my elected officials were, and I think it's really important to ensure that everyday folks know that there's people out there for them. With that said, I'm also inspired by the people that I don't know and the folks who are just living day by day, trying to do their best, whose life will be better because of our success. That when we're successful in fighting for housing affordability and for clean air and clean water and for due process and for keeping families united together, when we are successful in those efforts, then those families are going to be successful too. So I'm very much inspired by families like mine, whether I know them or don't know them. So for me, winning is everything. When we win, that means that families will not be separated, families can be safe and secure and contribute to their communities, that we have affordable housing for everyone, that poverty is eliminated. I mean, winning just allows us to deliver the goals that we aspire towards. But winning is also not easy, right? Winning requires us to work in collaboration, even when personalities clash. Winning requires us to suspend ego and focus on solving the problems in front of us, not creating new ones. Winning also requires us to uh, um, find unlikely allies and to get creative of who we work with. Winning means raising resources so that we have the ability to compensate our staff and ensure that our movement is sustainable over time. So winning is hard, but winning is the path to deliver on the promises that that we're making to our members, to our constituents, and of course to ourselves, that United States does have the potential to be a country that is for everyone, that truly reflects the needs of every person. But if we're not focused on winning and we're distracted by all the other stuff, then we've missed the plot. Then we don't have the right intentions. And it's really important for us to remember that winning requires teamwork, winning requires an extra level of work ethic. And for me, I mean, my to-do list is always huge. Like, this is an example of it. Like, it's crazy. And so burnout's also very real in this work. And I don't have the answers to how to solve burnout, to be honest, because I feel like I'm burnout every day. But I do think it's important to be resilient and focused and to find ways to take care of yourself as you focus towards this shared outcome of winning for our people and winning for the state. I would just say thank you for the invitation to pop in and to be part of the conversation. Thank you for all that you do. I know you're caring so much and often are under-resourced and underappreciated. So please know that this legislator, this fellow Floridian, and this daughter of immigrants sees you. I admire you, and we're here in this together. And so thank you for all you do, and please keep going.
And now, Ms. Farah Laurier, a Haitian TPS recipient.
Thank you, Tessa, for having me. And I was started by wishing a happy anniversary to the Florida Immigrant Coalition. 20 years, it's a milestone. Thank you for everything that you have done for us, the vision. Thank you for empowering us. And I wish long life to the coalition. And I wish courage, perseverance, tenacity to all individual members and all organization members. And we are all together in this fight. And 20 years mark just the beginning of a long journey that we have to continue. So that's my wishes for you, Tessa, as the executive director, and for all FLIC FLIC coalition. So to say about me, I will say that I am a communication strategic. I'm sorry. I'm a communication strategist and an entrepreneur, social entrepreneur. I started my career back in Haiti as a TV host and radio personality. I was one of the most popular TV hosts at some point in Haiti. But what brought me in the United States, because during my early 20s, I felt that Haiti was too small for my dreams. I wanted to understand why so much poverty, so much injustice, political instability is in Haiti, and what make the difference between Haiti and United States. That back then, we thought that it was a great country, a country that progressed, and the richest country of the world. So basically, I came United States as a sponge, as a person very curious, because considering my social status in Haiti, I could have stayed and live a wonderful life. But what about my people? And what about my environment? And that's what brought me here in the United States. My immigration journey made me become a community organizer and an activist. But I don't like the word activist. I prefer to see myself as a community organizer, because I feel like activism is reaction, always fighting. But community organizer is addressing the issue to the roots, and then to empowering people to come together and to address that issue. And I prefer that methodology of fighting instead of being an activist. That's why I prefer people to know me as a community organizer. And it started when in 2000, I think it was 2018, when Donald Trump said that he will end TPS, the temporary protected status. And that's when I found out that as a TPS recipient, since 2010, after the earthquake in Haiti, when President Barack Obama granted TPS to Haiti, I became a TPS recipient since then. So that when Donald Trump said that he will end it, I feel like, hey, that will affect me directly. And instead of for me to continue my journey and to develop myself here in the United States and to live the American dreams, so that will push me back. And so at that point, I make a phone call, and I called Marlene Bastien, who is one of the co-founder of Florida Immigrant Coalition. And I said, Marlene, if you're looking for a TPS recipient to fight, use me. And that's how I would say the story started. I became very active, and with Marlene Bastien organization I traveled many times in Washington D.C. Talking to members of Congress, and from there also I discovered FLIC and so many wonderful organization that fighting for us, and community organization, grass organization, human rights organization, union, you name it. And I can tell you, even it's a very stressful journey, but it's a wonderful journey.
Thank you, Farah. Thank you. Now, over the years, I'm pretty sure you realize that immigrants' rights it's been a fluctuation of experiences, right? And feelings at the same time for you who's as a TPS recipient who has a temporary status. Um, there's sometimes a sense of defeat, but there is always hope somewhere. So please share with us, where do you find the courage to keep fighting?
By being informed first, knowing the issues, understanding the issues. Unfortunately, in our immigrant journey, many of us have found stability as integrate the system, and we dissociate ourselves from the issue of immigration or from our own community. We feel like, well, immigration issue is no longer my issue. And that's why I feel like sometimes that as a woman of faith and a Catholic, sometimes I feel like it was part of um my destiny. It was God plan for me, because maybe if I was integrated, if I didn't have some challenges in my immigration process, and which is another story that I'll spare you the details today. I feel like maybe I will be just like many other people, so indifferent, thinking that, well, America has been good for me and it's a great country, and then that's it. But knowing that America has a long history of discrimination in the immigration system since the beginning, and by being informed, it helped me better understand why we're living what we're living today. Second of all, by also making myself available, being engaged. So not only after as even after the first term of Donald Trump, and then we turned we had now a new administration, we Biden administration, and they were talking about immigration reform. I still remain engaged, because these people, and when I say these people, these organizations like FLIC, like FAM, like Alianza Americas, you name it, the union who's standing for us, Florida Rising, they're fighting for me. So how I can let them fight by themselves? It is a responsibility and an obligation for me to remain engaged, because they're fighting for me. I cannot just continue my life like, oh, it's normal life, and I would go into my regular business and thinking that, oh, God will take care of me. Oh, Florida Immigrant Coalition will go and talk to members of Congress, and then they will pass immigration reform. No. So it requires also that I understand my responsibility in this fight, and I'm making the sacrifice, which is, hey, if FLIC is having a rally at 8 a.m. in the morning, and I work the night before, hey, I'm not gonna sleep. I'm gonna get my Red Bull or get my coffee and show up at FLIC rally because you're fighting for me, and that requires sacrifice. That requires also a sense of urgency. People tend to think that, well, God will do something for us. That, oh, things will go good, everything will be fine. And then I can go to church regularly on Sunday, but when FLIC asked me to come at a rally, maybe once every 3 months, a meeting once a month or once a week, oh, I don't have time. I'm working. No. And that's mean those who are fighting for me, those who are already American citizens who represent me, who's talking to members of Congress. So why are they doing that? Because I have other priorities. No, so I understand that if I have to have a sense of urgency, I have to make the sacrifice, and I have to get women engaged, informed, and I also have to understand that we're not, by getting informed, I understand that we're not no longer living a regular life. So which is I have to know my priority. If today I feel like I don't have time for a meeting because I'm going to work, guess what? In few months, after February 3rd, I will have no job. After February 3rd, 2026, when the Trump administration wants to end TPS, I will have no job. So that's me. The fight is today, not when I can. For me, it outraged me to see that when I talk to grassroots organizers, community organizers, union organizers who telling me they cannot even convince immigrants to not go to work one day just to show our power. And it outraged me because that's mean you think that you have to go to work for this, you have to secure this 8 hours because you have to pay the bills at the end of the month. But what's gonna happen in 6 months when they deport you, or in next week when they deport you? So we have to understand, are we immigrant, our priorities, that the fight is today, not tomorrow, or when I can, or when I don't have a job. The fight is today. If not, we will lose it. And that's what motivates me every day. And I can tell you also, it is a sense of recognition and gratitude too, because this sense of recognition of people like FLIC, like FOM, and other organizations fighting for us immigrant make me feel like, well, it is real. And it is for me, the power that we have together. So I'm not alone. So by knowing that I'm not alone, and that other people who could take care of their own business, making it a choice in their life to fight for our immigrant right. So that means I am also in power, and I have no sense of fear. I've just continue to fight, because at the end, when they win, when those who represent me win, it's gonna be my first victory, because I'm the one that they're fighting for.
Thank you. Thank you for so much inspiration, so much inspiration. So I know that people are saying that, the immigration is also already a lost case, right? But we're saying that fighting means winning, and you've talked about fighting and getting to a win. But if you think about what this panel is about, loving and fighting means winning. What does that translate for you?
Well, it's a continuous effort, because for me, I'm a passionate of history, and I can tell you sometimes I'm thinking about what happened about a century ago with the Nazi regime of Adolf Hitler. And when in less than 10 years, I don't recall exactly the time, but less than 10 years or maybe less than 5 years, they were able to kill 6 million of Jews. That made me think that if it happened once, it could happen again. And these days, the narrative about anti-immigrant become is increasing, and it's not only in United States, it's around the world. And theory about the great replacement create fear in certain people's mind that minority immigrant, black and brown immigrants, who replace them. And this fear create hate. So for me, as a black woman immigrant, it is important that I educate myself and I learn from the past to say that how to better strategize, how to better remain engaged in order to fight together, because they use fear and hate to point out fingers on us to say that we are a threat. And we know that it's false narrative. So for us, it has to be a continued reminder that we have the right to exist, that we love ourselves. For instance, I have a conversation with another Haitian TPS recipient who at some point, we're talking about the reality, what's going on, mass deportation, and the reality in Haiti, how you're going to set people in Haiti with what's going on in Haiti when terrorists are controlling many parts of the country. And she said, well, these people are taking care of their country. It is also Asian to taking care of our country. I say, you are right. But do you know that United States has been part of the problem? And do you know that many of the guns that feed the terrorist groups in Haiti are coming from United States? But what American government has done to stop the gun trafficking that coming to United States? What the governor of Florida, when DeSantis have done to address the gun trafficking that coming to Florida? Nothing. So if they have done nothing, so what is our responsibility? So we have to love ourselves. We have to accept excuses that other people giving to us, like this is the why they're doing this. And then we take it as, yes, we deserve it. No, we have to love ourselves, and we have to love our people first. Because, hey, I respect any person, any American who believe that you are a patriot, like they said. I respect them. I respect them. But don't come with that excuse to say that I am a threat for your country when for years your country has contributed to the failing, the gun trafficking, the terrorist group that are keeping our countries hostage, and not only Haiti, but also in South America. And that's why we have so many immigrants. So we must be bold. We must be courageous to speak the truth, because if we don't speak our truth, they will speak their truth, and then people will think that their truth is the right truth. But it's not true. It's not true. So with love, I would say love ourselves, love yourself, and understand that you are a victim. You're not a problem. You're a victim. And we have to love our community, regardless our immigration status, where we're coming from, which language we speak. We have to come together. And that's why I love FLIC, because the mission, the vision of FLIC by bringing minority community immigrant groups, Black and brown group, immigrant groups, who are they're looking at us like we are second class citizen in United States. It's not right, and that's why this organization, this coalition was founded, and that's why I believe that the love that we have for ourselves and for others will also be a purpose for us to continue to speak our truth, our story, and to continue to also to be bold and to say loud and clean what we want as human being, and that we have the right to exist.
Amazing, amazing, Fa. Thank you so much. So inspiring, so inspiring. And yes, it is true that in these moments, it is the love for ourselves that's going to make us, that's going to fuel our ability to fight. And just by fighting for ourselves, we are winning. We're halfway through winning the battle. And our definition of winning is going to be very different for each and every one of us. But we must fight no matter what. Um, Thank you. And any final words that you have for our FLIC Congress attendees? This is the very first panel. Folks are going to go through workshops and get to know each other and hear more speakers. But any words of encouragement for our folks today?
Get engaged, ask questions, learn from each other, because I can tell you, I've become a better person, another person through my experience with FLIC. And every year I cannot wait to meet other members of FLIC at this annual Congress. Even sometimes I'm not really active throughout the year as an individual member, but I like the diversity, and I have experiences in the past other event of FLIC where I hear a his a Latina Hispanic woman sharing their story about blackness and how they were treating in their family. And I'm looking at that lady and I'm like, she's white, but she's telling that in her family she's not black, she's not white enough. And that's an experience that empower me. That's an experience that can help you to by knowing and learning from other people's experience about their human rights, about blackness, about gender affirmative, all these things that it make you better understand how the world works. And today you have an opportunity to learn a lot, and then to after this event you're gonna be inspired just like I'm inspired, and then I continue to do the work and to do the fight, just not only for myself but also for the human being, because it is the right for us to exist. And I like to say it again and again, because sometimes people think that, oh, they defeat a, and they think they leave, they are just washing their hand like, oh, it is what it is. There's no it is what it is. You're a human being, you're a lovely person, you're a great person. And today this is your opportunity to learn, to get engaged, to meet other friends, other nationalities, and to get inspired and motivated for what's gonna continue and for our fight. And victory, it is ours.
And now some words from Judith Leblanc, Executive Director of Native Organizers Alliance. Judith is a citizen of the Caddo Nation. She's been the Executive Director of Native Organizers Alliance for 8 years. She leads a national Native training and organizing network which supports tribes, traditional societies, and community groups, urban and reservation, in organizing grassroots political power to achieve Native sovereignty and racial equity for all. Judith is a board member of Movement Strategy Center and chair of the board of the NDN Collective. She currently serves on the Environmental Justice Work Group convened by U.S. Representatives Raul Grijalva, and Barbara Lee. Judith was a 2019 Roddenberry Fellow. In 2022, she was a resident fellow at the Institute of Politics at the Kennedy School of Harvard University.
Hello, my name is Judith LeBlanc. I'm a citizen of the Caddo Nation, and I'm the Executive Director of the Native Organizers Alliance. The Native Organizers Alliance is a national Native organizing and training network. We work with tribes and Native communities across Turtle Island. Today, the rise of totalitarianism requires urgent and strategic action. Strategies that are grounded in Indigenous values of kinship. Indigenous people must use our values to help turn this tide of totalitarianism around, to turn back the illegal government actions, and we must be driven not by hate, but by love of families, of communities, and our love of humanity and Mother Earth. We should not and cannot be divided from each other because we share a common horizon, a hope that future generations will live with human rights, with justice, and in a Mother Earth, on a Mother Earth that is safe and in balance. Indigenous people here and around the world are given an ancestral responsibility to be caretakers of Mother Earth and to prepare every day and in every way for future generations. If we accept that responsibility, then we must be good relatives and move together on human rights, move together on the rights of nature. We must face those who stand in our way by walking in balance, led by our values and an understanding that we share a common horizon. We care and must act now so that our future generations will live together with all things intact. Our humanity, living without scarcity and need, and living on Mother Earth, a Mother Earth that has been brought back into balance. In a way, the Native Organizers Alliance is committed to mobilizing Indigenous communities across this country. We stand with you. We stand with you as a relative. We stand with you because we know that the only way that we can protect your communities and protect our own is to stand together. I appreciate this moment to send those words to you because I know the work you'll do in the next 2 days are critical to building those broad alliances that can move majorities. I believe that we will and can move majorities to stand for you, with you, and by you, and by doing so, assure that our future generations will live in a good way together. Thank you so much.
So here you have it, folks. You have heard from Desmond Meade, who, at his worst, never believing that he could be anything, actually accomplished an incredible mission. You've heard from a tireless champion in our legislature, and you have heard from a TPS recipient, one of our community members, who fears every day because, as you heard her say, by February 3rd, 2026, she may not have a job. The one thing that you've heard in common is we must fight. The thing that the common thread is we not only fight for us, we fight for our communities, we fight for what we believe in, we fight because we believe in our dignity, in our community's right to dignity and to freedom. Again, welcome to FLIC Congress 2025. I hope you have an amazing experience.